What's up, guys? This is Carter Thomas with Coin Mastery TV. Make sure you go to coinmastery.com/invest to sign up for the newsletter and to get your PDF on the crypto investment guide. It's very helpful. Also, make sure you subscribe on YouTube by going to coinmastery.com/YouTube. Subscribe, hit the bell, get notified. Very cool. Today we're talking about my favorite thing, which is volatility. That's really why we're in this business. Obviously, we're all here because this is the biggest financial revolution probably of our lifetimes. And we're looking to get better, smarter decisions to lead to better, bigger bank accounts, or Bitcoin accounts, I should say. Screw the banks. And days like yesterday and today and last night really crystallize what I love about this and what I hope that you guys start to love about this if you don't already. Right? It should never be a situation where we're worried about what's going to happen next or freaking out. We're always working on having plans and strategies so that if it goes up, we can capitalize. If it goes down, we can capitalize. So that's really what I want to talk about today. Specifically, I did a poll yesterday and I want to go through the results and talk a little bit about where we are in the market. And the reason why I want to talk about this is so that you can start to see the bigger picture of Bitcoin and start to see not only what's going to happen in the short term, but make predictions on what's going to happen in the long term based on macro forces. Because right now, I firmly believe that this is a game of people. This is a game of emotions. Technical analysis does help, but it is dwarfed by the people factor, right? Like the sheer volume of people and energy and emotions that are coming into this space. So I want to talk about that a little bit. I really want to talk about what's happening in the altcoin market, which is really kind of the news of the day on top of Bitcoin. And one thing that I really want to touch on, and maybe I'll do a follow-up video, I want to talk about comparing or thinking about your investments, specifically your altcoin investments, in terms of Bitcoin prices versus in terms of US prices. For anybody who's wondering, because this comes up in the comments all the time, this plugin, see how I roll over it? It's called Crypto Correct. If you go into the Chrome extension store, you can find it. It's Crypto Correct. That's where you can find it, just because everyone keeps asking me about that. It's very helpful. But I want to do a quick walkthrough on why I only care about Bitcoin prices. I don't care about USD at all. Relatively speaking, but I want to show you why and hopefully help you understand why it's important to think about Bitcoin prices more so than your fiat currency. We're going to talk about a few coins in particular. I think that it's important to talk about what I'm looking at, help you guys make better decisions, and a few other pieces of news. I want you to leave this video with a better understanding of what's going on and an idea of what you can do next, right? How to prepare for the next week, which I think is going to be a heck of a week. And real quick, I would love to say thank you guys for being amazing with the comments, with the messages, with the emails. I'm trying to keep up, and we're getting about 500, 600 a day right now. And I'm trying to respond to everybody, but I just want to say thanks for being a part of this. It really makes it worth it. This is truly the biggest opportunity I think I've ever seen, and I've built like 5 or 6 businesses now. This is it. I mean, this is a big deal, what's going on right now. And who knows how long it's going to last. I think we've got at least 8 to 12 months of what we're looking at right now, maybe even bigger curves. But this is awesome. And if nothing else, I hope that we can get excited about this too. So let's just open this up. Let's just start with a poll here. So on Twitter, if you're not on Twitter, you should go to follow me, twitter.com/Carter Thomas. Go check it out. This is where I really post a lot of my kind of more, not real time, but like keep people up to date in the actual trades. So, last night when I loaded up on tethered US dollars, right, which is a digital format of US dollars, I liquidated the Bitcoin that I got from an ARC sale. I just kind of show you that I actually do this stuff. I'm not just talking about it. Like, I'm actually backing up what I say. So you can follow along. Like, you don't have to do what I'm doing. I think it's important you guys know that I'm in this too. And this is really what I'm doing. So last night I said, by the way, Mark Cuban is he said he's finally going to start buying Bitcoin. I love it. I actually like Mark Cuban, politics aside, I think he's a good guy. But with Bitcoin, I asked, do you think it's going to go up or down? We had 321 votes, and 59% of you guys, or people who voted, who are on Twitter, wanted Bitcoin to go down. That's really interesting, right? I mean, it's almost an all-time high. I think we were at an all-time high, and almost 60% of people wanted it to go down, right? Mostly because that gives us more buying opportunities. Potentially means because altcoins are going to go up. That's kind of how it works. Like Bitcoin goes down, altcoins go up, which I'll explain a little bit more. But I thought that was really interesting. And people don't always show the results of these polls. I think it's important you guys see the results. So realize that there's more people who want the price to go down of my followers. Like, who knows what kind of a snapshot this is of the greater market. But there's more people that want the price to go down than there are people that want the price to go up within this little community, which I think is actually a very strong community of people. And what this, the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because I want to also paint a picture of what the greater market looks like. We often, and I've talked about cognitive biases a lot, and I will continue to think about this because we are humans, and understanding how we work psychologically is how you will make more money in the financial markets. We often think that our worlds are the be-all, end-all, right? We think that the decisions we make, the emotions we have, we get sucked into that. And while, let's say you are following me on Twitter and you clicked, I want the market to go down. You click that in the poll, you will naturally start to assume that you're going to start to look for reasons why the market's going to go down. And you're going to start to naturally make decisions on why the markets are going to go down. Okay, if you clicked on the up button, you will naturally start to see things. You will see articles, you will see tweets of things that reinforce that idea that, oh my God, it's going up. You're going to look for reasons to buy, versus if you're looking for it to go down, you're going to look for reasons for to maybe sell or look for try to buy into some very cheap altcoin because you just want the bottom to hit so that you can start to ride it up. Whatever it is, realize that our cognitive biases as individuals are like this tiny speck in the grand scheme of what's happening. There are three real parties that I see. I tend to think in these kind of groupings. Excuse me. The first is us. It's what I call indie investors, right? It's people that may have a full-time job, or entrepreneurs, or people that have a little bit of money saved up, or they're maybe a good amount of money, and they're investing it themselves. They get their information from YouTube, from Twitter, from Facebook. They're making decisions, many of which they've been in early. Many are going along right now. But that's one group. I do not know the percentages of who makes up what groups in terms of market cap, but that's the first group. The second group, as many of you guys know, is bankers, institutional investors. It's the financial system. This is a very large and powerful group. They have not really gotten in here, but they're starting to. You're seeing things like the OTC funds, right? Like GBTC, where you can buy into Bitcoin at a premium, ridiculous ripoff premium, but you can do that. But there's all these people. That's where like the real institutional money is coming in. So that's the bankers. The other people is the venture capitalists, right? It's the San Francisco. It's the people that work in offices right around here who were investing in small startups, and now they're trying to invest in ICOs and into altcoins and into Bitcoin. When you think about these three groups, governments are kind of the wild card. We're not going to talk about that. When you think about those three groups, realize that we, as independent investors, we may be like relatively split on the up and the down, because the people who want to go up are already in, and we've already got our Bitcoin and we don't have a lot of money to put in there, and we want it to go up, or we want it to go down because we have more cash and we want to make it go big. Realize that the other two groups, the bankers and the people in Silicon Valley, they do not have much Bitcoin yet. They do not have many altcoins yet. They're not in the ICOs yet. They want Bitcoin to go down big time. across the board, they want Bitcoin prices to go way down so that they can buy in really cheap. Right? So there's a lot of market forces trying to push it up, obviously from the existing market and from people like us and all that. But realize that these other two groups, which have a ton of money, are really trying to push it down. And they're as they get more and more interested in these markets, they will push it down as we try to push it up, as the markets try to push it up, as the volume tries to push it up. And that's what's going on right now. So while we may think that we're in this little bubble of a world, and what we think and what we feel and our decisions are the be all end all, it's important to remember that there's a lot of people that want this to go down. I think if you surveyed like the raw amount of dollars that are waiting to go into crypto, it would be more like 80% want to go down, 20% want to go up, maybe even more than that, right? So that's important to think about as you look at the markets, as you start to see things like volume and all that good stuff. Okay, now before we get into what's happening and what happened in the last 2 days, I wanted to do a quick overview of something, and I made a very flashy, very exciting keynote. Now, if you're listening on the podcast, no worries. I would encourage you to go to YouTube channel, go to coinmastery.com/YouTube once you're done, once you get home, after you drive home or whenever you're listening to this, and watch the video. This chart, all it is an X and a Y axis that is US price, which is just the vertical, right? That's the Y axis, I believe, up and down. And then inside there's a box, a kind of a teal box or whatever you call that. That's Bitcoin price. And then inside that is a yellow box. It says OMG price. And this will make more sense. But for anybody who's watching it, you'll see what I'm talking about. Let's say you own some OMG, right? You're on Bittrex, you bought some OMG or any altcoin. I'm just using OMG as an example. And you are looking at the US price. What's happening is that you are looking at what happens when all of these things go up and down, right? So right now I am dragging both the Bitcoin box and the OMG box that's inside the Bitcoin box up and down. So you can see that as Bitcoin goes down, the OMG price also, US dollars, goes down. As Bitcoin goes up, the OMG price also goes up. So when people tell me, oh man, well I bought OMG and I don't, the USD dollar amount is going up. What I don't think that they're clear on is that, well, that's just because Bitcoin went up, right? Everything's pegged to Bitcoin because we live in an international world and you can't do all the different currencies against all the different altcoins. That'd be insane. So, right? So if you're just looking at US dollars as the peg value of your altcoin investment, realize that you're basically just looking at the Bitcoin price, right? Like how is it moving in relation? Bitcoin's really just dictating that US dollar price. However, what is really important, and this is why I only care about Bitcoin prices when we're talking about altcoins, is that if the Bitcoin price stays the same, but your altcoin goes up relative to Bitcoin, which is what Bittrex shows you, then it's doing this. So right now, for anybody listening, I'm moving only the OMG box within Bitcoin, the Bitcoin box, which is not moving, right? So if your OMG price goes like this, that means the Bitcoin relative price is going up, even if Bitcoin stays the same. So you're actually getting real growth on top of whatever the market growth is in itself. Do you see what I'm saying? So by thinking about when you're playing this game, like you're just playing the altcoins against Bitcoin, if you're constantly moving up price against Bitcoin over the long term is always going to go up. So if you can trade your altcoins and move them up against Bitcoin while the whole thing is moving up, you get like double the growth, right? That's the whole reason you do the altcoin thing, right? If you are just looking at US dollars and increasing US dollars, maybe the altcoin that you get will exceed that. But if you're trading, realize that a majority of that growth, you should just put your money in Bitcoin and call it a day. because that's where you're going to get a lot of the growth. That's why we do the 10, 20, 30% thing, because that allows you to get more and more Bitcoin growth and move the whole ship at the same time. All right, so I'll probably do another like dedicated video on this. I think it's helpful to see this visually. So if you're listening, I would encourage you to come watch the video and just see what we're doing here. Sorry if you hear some background noise. I'm in a big office here. But that's why it is. So when you're looking at things like Bittrex, right, and you're looking at this and you want to see this US dollar amount, that's fine. But realize that making sure that this price is moving up against Bitcoin, that's the real name of the game. So when I say, and you'll see these in the comments on YouTube, my entire strategy is obviously to buy winners and to make good decisions and to make more money. But all I really try to do is accumulate more Bitcoin, right? Because I'm trying to buy low against Bitcoin. I'm trying to sell high against Bitcoin so that I just accumulate more and more, knowing that that big ship is really the driver of this entire market for now. That may change whenever it changes, but that's important to realize. And that's an important way to think about this, because that's the difference between getting started, which is I'm guilty of this. I used to do like US dollars was my go-to. That's also why I don't really check Crypto Watch anymore. And now you see all the pro traders, they only care about the Bitcoin for that exact reason. Because when you focus on moving within that Bitcoin environment, Bitcoin itself is just like, that's a rocket ship that we all agree on. And so beating it against the Bitcoin is really where it's at. So hope that helps. I hope that clarifies it for you. And that's why I encourage you guys to not get too hung up on the US dollar amounts, right? And saying like, well, you know, this Verge or whatever, right? That US dollar amount's gone up in the last month 50%. And I would say, yeah, well, so like that's because Bitcoin went up 50%. That's not because Verge beat Bitcoin, right? Do you see what I'm saying? So something to think about. In terms of price movements, yesterday, obviously, you know, right now we're seeing a little bit of a comeback from Bitcoin, right? So in Bittrex USDT, that's just tethered dollars, which pretty much follows the live charts, right? But if you really want to see the the real kind of market prices, you know, you want to go to something like GDAX or Kraken or Bitfinex or something, and you can see the live price. So we had a bit of a tumble, right, from 25 down to 38. And now it's coming back up to 41. Personally, I do not think that this is going to come way back up and explode past that. And if it does, I think it's going to come back down. Like there is more downward pressure building because of those two groups than there is upward pressure right now. I think once it gets down to the 3,000 range, which if that terrifies you, don't worry about it. Just realize you just need a plan, which you should have anyway. That's when the banks in Silicon Valley and all that, that's when they're going to say, okay, now this is cheap enough that we're ready to go in this big time. So I'm not too concerned about this going up or down right now. I'm not really stressing about it. I obviously liquidated a little bit right here, or put it into tethered dollars because I want to be ready for that big dip. Which I'm very confident will happen. So even if this goes up to like 48, 49, that's not my plan. My plan is hold until it drops. And all I care about is how do I get ready for a big drop. You can, you know, it's up to you to make your own calls and to make your own decisions on these sort of things. That's what I'm doing. I see it in the order books. I kind of intuitively feel it. I know that sounds hokey, and I know that's like not what investors and technical analysis people want to hear. But after watching these things for like 2.5 years, there's a lot of pressure pushing these down, which isn't a bad thing. So my plan, how do I accumulate cash or tethered dollars to really capitalize on when it goes down to whatever it goes down to? Set the limit orders, scalp whatever trades I need to scalp, things like that. Okay. Now let's talk about a few things to keep an eye out on. Kind of always the fun part of this, or what people seem to like the most, which is what I'm looking at, or you know, what coins are worth looking at, which ones are going to break out. ARK has been really interesting. I bought, I don't know, maybe like a couple Bitcoin worth of ARK about a month ago at 0.00024, right? That was like the blended average of whatever I bought. And you can see this, right? Like I'm not trying to, like this is all what I did. So here's what I sold it last night. I did not sell it at the top, and you can also see that I don't try to time this perfectly. So I sold some at 40, I sold some at 43, 45, 48, 47. You know what? And if I had held it till today and sold it all at 50, yeah, I would have made more money. But I'm always trying to mitigate my risk, right? So I'll always sell a little bit at a time once it hits a number that I'm comfortable with. And I just took that money and turned it directly into US dollars. Is ARK a good investment for you? I personally am not sure. This happened really fast. I don't know if the volume is going to hold on this because it's brand new. I do think that ARK has an awesome product, right? The wallet is so fast. It's unreal. Even with like 60 confirmations, it's so fast. And they understand the game of marketing better than a lot of coins or platforms, I should say. What ARK does is it's kind of like glue between blockchains, right? So if Bitcoin wants to work with Ethereum, ARK can bridge these together. That's what it does. And they're really good at knowing that they need to go to conferences, they need to put up a booth, they need to build relationships and network. That's what they're really good at. So you look at what conferences they're going into, and they're going to everything. I like that a lot. That's why I bought the coin to begin with. I did not expect it to be number 2 on Bittrex. So there's obviously some, it just happens so fast. It's always hard to really understand or know what the long-term thing is. I still own 40% of what I bought, which isn't, I don't have like 50 Bitcoin of this, so I'm not trying to, pulling over. That's just what I have. I think that the technical analysis that I've seen, there's going to be some resistance right around 50, 51, which you obviously saw yesterday, like 53, whatever. I mean, it saw this, but this was just like a crazy hype, euphoria. So if it can get to like 55 and hold it at 55 and the volume follows, it may keep going. But, I never really like to buy these coins when they first make their big move. I always like to see them stabilize, buy in the dip, and then watch them go up. Like that's what happened with OMG and everything else. So ARK, I would watch it. If it can hold these prices for another day or two, yeah. I mean, check it out. Go check out ARK platform. Go check and make sure you like it. OMG, I'm a fan. I keep buying more. I think they got a good thing going, right? They just put out a tweet that said they met with the Bank of Thailand yesterday. They're doing a great job. Stratus, I own a bunch of Stratus. I'm a believer in Stratus. Yeah, Microsoft just put out some quote-unquote competition. I don't really think that that's a big deal, to be perfectly honest, because competition in this business right now, things just grow and die in a matter of hours. So I'm not too worried about that. Microsoft's been putting out stuff for the last year anyway, and nothing's really come of it. What I like about Stratus is that, one, it has a lot of people. It's been around for a while, and it has a lot of people that have been buying it up for a very long time. Like it's always had a lot of volume, relatively speaking. And what I also like is that like you can see that there's upward pressure in the charts. I'm not going to get into the technical side of this, but Bitcoin prices are the only reason this is being depressed right now. Like there is a lot of upward pressure. There's a lot of volume. The second Bitcoin prices drop, Stratus is going to be a very good one to have because it will jump to the mid 20s, low 20s, mid 20s, maybe high 20s. It's going to get some resistance, but I think that Stratus is a good one. I'm really excited about that one. I think that it's proved that it's solid. It has a lot of people with a lot of volume. It's always been solid in that sense. I think, what was the other one I was going to point out? Oh yeah. Check out game credits. right? Look, I don't own any game credits, to be perfectly honest. So that may be, you may think that that's a good thing or not a good thing. But I did a few scalp trades on game credits back in July, right? So when we had that big dip right around here, I bought a bunch and then I sold it for whatever the 25% that we talk about. And I've just kind of always had my eye on it ever since then. And game credits is kind of like Stratus in the sense that it always seems to pop really quickly when the downward pressure from Bitcoin's strength is relieved. Meaning when Bitcoin price is going to go down, it tends to pop really well and really quickly for whatever reason. I have not done mass deep research into game credits. I just like the charts, and I have a background in gaming. I know there's a big need for this stuff. But that may be one. Again, I don't own any, so I'm not trying to promote this. All I know is that when I did own it, and I've been noticing that it tends to pop really quickly. So that may be one to check out. Can't put my full recommendation behind it, but I do think it's interesting to kind of put that on your radar. And the last one, which if any of you have been watching this, you would know that I bought a bunch of Gollum 2 weeks ago, and I've just watched it die. Not to be dramatic or anything, but I think I bought it right around 10, or I bought a tiny bit around 10,300, and then I bought a bunch at 95, and then I just was I can't deal with this. But I do believe in Gollum, right? I believe in that they have a killer team, they have a great product, they just delay everything. They do have something really special. I don't know if this is when or how this is going to come back up to the levels that I want it to come back to, but there's something very valuable there, and I think a lot of people are giving up on it. I have not sold any of mine, so I guess I am biased. I'm not trying to pump this up or anything, but the people, they have something very, very, there's a lot built, right? And they're trying to come out with their new platform soon. This one, the price is way depressed below where it was trading at, right? I mean, that's a 400% difference from the top, which you don't see in a lot of other coins. So, maybe I'm just saying this because deep down I'm pissed at myself for making a losing trade, but it's also because Bitcoin just had this epic run. So I don't know. There's a reason why I haven't sold it yet, and I have sold others at a loss. So this is what I'm looking at, right? That's at the end of the day. I'm just trying to share what I'm doing every day. I'm not trying to be some hotshot guru here. Last thing I would say, I guess the other thing, DNT, right? We talked about this. We keep talking about this. I think that this might be a pretty good time to get in. Right? Whenever you see these kind of up and down volatility things, that always means that there's a lot of, that's a good thing, right? It's maintaining it. It's keeping the volume going. I would check it out, right? If you're interested in getting a DNT, I think that this might be a good time to check it out. I own a bunch. I think it's a good one. Just saying. And then lastly, just kind of a fun piece, Blockstream, which is a big investment firm. I think they're in LA. They're putting a satellite up in space, which is going to allow people to interact with the blockchain without having to connect to the internet. The ramifications of this are pretty big. It means that they can bypass a lot of the traditional security measures that the internet connectivity may cause, it may sketch people out, right? Hacking, governments, things like that. Connecting to a satellite may provide new levels of privacy and security for people that own crypto. It's going to be really interesting to see this unfold. For you guys, I don't think it matters in terms of prices right now or anything, but it does signal to me that there is this realization that government and privacy and all this is going to be a big deal in the future, and that the big companies that have a lot invested in crypto are trying to proactively do something about it. So Maybe buy Monero, maybe buy Zcash, maybe buy, I own Monero, just full transparency. I don't own Zcash. Pivx, I think, PIVX is a privacy coin. A lot of people are asking about. But this is interesting, right? They're putting a lot of money into this for the exact thing that a lot of these privacy coins do. I don't know. I don't know what it means. Will it even pan out? Maybe, maybe not, but something to check out. So that's really what's going on. I think that the big news, or the big thing that you guys can do is I would put together a plan over the next day or two of how can you prepare for this to go down. I think that it may go up to like 45, 4,600. It may do that. But the bigger trend is that there is pressure for this to go down. There's a lot of external pressure, like we talked about, for this to go down. And the most important thing, beyond picking a right coin or beyond getting into the right ICO, the most important thing is having a piece of paper that has your plan written down. What am I going to do if and when this goes way down? Am I prepared? And if you're not prepared, that's okay. But make moves today to make sure that you are, because this is going to go down in the next couple weeks, maybe the next couple days. I don't know. It might go up first, but there's a lot of pressure. You got to be prepared. Have some cash ready. Do what you got to do, and go from there. All right. Thanks, guys. Again, this is an exciting time. Pleasure to serve you. Coinmastery.com/invest. Make sure you sign up for the newsletter, get the PDFs, get all the guides, all the spreadsheets, everything, and make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Or if you want to listen to the podcast, go to coinmastery.com/iTunes. Subscribe, leave a review. This is great, guys. I can't wait to do this tomorrow. I will see you soon. Peace out.